Hey, this is Mr. Jarvis with homework help for December 7th, and this is due. I'll give you time in class tomorrow. I said due Friday. For some reason, I thought today was Wednesday. Um, so, although it should be review, I mean, we did this morning. So, we're looking at multiplying numbers with decimals by powers of 10. So, when we say powers of 10, we're like 100, 1,000, etc. So, So we're looking at this. So 35 and 436 thousandths. This is the tenths, hundredths, thousands times 100. Now we worked out some problems. We warmed up to this by saying, let's, 7 times 4 million. Or actually, we didn't do that. We made it even different, like 70 times 4 million. And when we're multiplying powers of 10, all we have to do is multiply that, if they end all in zeros, we just have to think about 7 times 4 is 28, and then just count the zeros. There's 7, so. And let me figure, and then we just have to correctly place the commas where they should be in the groups of 3. So it's 280, and those look like sixes. Okay, whoops, I gotta have my pen. So a little review of what we did in class warming up to this. So now we're multiplying decimals. So if it's 35 and 436 thousandths, or we're timesing it by 100, we look at how many zeros are in this number. 100, there's 2. So we can move the decimal point 2 places to the right. 1, 2. And the number is 3, 4, 3.6. 3,543.6. So there's 2 zeros. I'm multiplying, so I move the decimal point to the right 2 places. 1, 2. And when we multiply by something, it usually makes it greater. So this is a greater number. So it's multiplied by 100. It's 35 100 times, and that makes sense. It's going to be 3,000. When we divide groups of, it's the opposite. We actually make the number smaller. This one's a little tricky. 6.003, which is 6 and 3 thousandths. Now, when I divide, I move the decimal point 1 place, the number of zeros I have to the left. So I need to write a 0 here and add a decimal point. So this would make it 0.603 ten thousandths. Okay? So if you're multiplying by a number like a power of 10 and you're multiplying a decimal, you move to the right. When you're dividing, you count the number of zeros you're multiplying of the power of 10 and move the decimal point that many places to the left. There were two zeros here. I moved the decimal point 2 places to the right. There's 1 0 here. I moved the decimal place 1 place to the left. Let's look at another one. So we have 856 and 25 hundredths. So how many places it's multiplying? I move it to the right. How many places? 1, 2, 3. I only have 2 numbers here. So what I have to do is write 8, 5, 6, 2, 1, 2. I need to add a 0. 1, 2, just add a 0, put it over. So it's 856,250. So I moved it 1, 2. So in this case, I had to add a 0. So that made it a little difficult. So let's look at number 3 here. So if I'm dividing, I move the decimal point to the left by 2. And here's another where I'm going to have to add zeros. So 3.62 or 62 hundredths. I have to move it to the left how many times? 2. 1, add a 0, 2. And then when we're writing decimals, we learned we always put a 0 in the ones place. So 0 and 362 10,000s. I can erase these. So it should be right here. So, okay, let's look at number 4. Here we're rounding. These are from the first part of the worksheet. We're rounding to the nearest tenth. So it says round to the nearest tenth. So we look at the tenths place. You look 1 to the right, and we came up my saying, and nobody seems to like my saying as much as yours is. 5 or more, increase the score. 4 or less, no change is best. So if we look to that number to the right and it's 5 or more, we increase the 6 by one digit. If it's 4 or less, we leave it alone and just get rid of the number. So I'm rounding it to the nearest 10. This is 4 or less. It's 1. So the answer would be 6 and 6/10. I just get rid of the 1. In this case, I'm rounding to the nearest 10th. Here's my rounding place. I look 1 to the right, and it's 5. It falls into that 5 or more category. You guys like to say, let it soar, increase it. I like to say, increase the score. What happens if I increase this 9 by 1? It becomes 10. So the answer, I put a 0 here. The 1 is 3.0 or 3. So this is the number rounded to the nearest tenth. It's 3. That's a little confusing, I know. But let's look at another one. Now we're rounding to the nearest hundredth. It says if this is the bottom half of the sheet. So this is the 100th place. I look 1 to the right. It's 4 or less, so no change is best. 10.50. I don't have to even write the 0. Here's the rounding place. Look 1 to the right. It's an 8. 6.4. 5 or more, increase the score or let it soar. I increase the 2 by 1, which would be 3. So I made this 2 a 3 because the 8 is 5 or more. And I hope that helps with your homework a little bit. You don't have to have it done by the beginning of the period. I'll give you time in class to work on it. I gave you a little bit of time class today, and I'll give you more, and I'll be walking around. I'll be able to help you in class tomorrow. Good luck, everybody.